You're really welcome to our data analyst data session for July. And our topic is Introduction to Power BI for Data Visualization. We'll be starting in a jiffy, and I just want to mention some housekeeping rules. Please mute your mic so that you could hear our instructor clearly, you could hear me clearly, and we'll have a smooth session. Please stay present if you are here, be here. If possible, you can even turn on your video so that it can help you stay present. If you need to speak or ask questions as our instructor is teaching some things, just use the raise your hand feature so that before you could speak, or even use the chat box. We would always be looking at our chat box. And don't worry, this session is recorded, yeah, so you will definitely get the replay. But if you really want to get replay, I would want you to fill the form, the attendance form. We'll be sharing it as intervals. So yeah, our agenda is really short. We'll talk about our introduction, then our instructor Olubukola will have our answer session where he teaches you how to use Power BI, for data visualization. Then it will take lots and lots of questions. Don't worry, if you have any question at all on data analytics, we're here to answer. Our founder to be here to also answer questions, the BI developer. So you are getting the best from us. So there'll be training options and stuff with a closeout. Can Bukola confirm if she's on the call? Trying to look.
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So yeah, I'd like to introduce Olubukola Akinshola. She's a skilled data professional dedicated to making business leverage data and insights to drive growth and performance. And of course, she has expertise in ETL, data warehousing, data analysis, data engineering, dashboard creation. Like, she's really proficient with almost all of the BI tools like DBT, Python, SQL, Excel, even with Azure and even Google services in her. She's a Microsoft certified data engineer. So you are getting the best. She's the best, and she's always improving. She's even Microsoft certified Power BI data analyst. So she's certified to teach, to use, Power BI. She's also Microsoft certified Azure data fundamentals. Just to mention a few, really. She has experience working in different industries. Is it healthcare? Is it fintech? Is it banking? Like, you are having the best. And she's a female. So if you're a female, you can actually do it. So male, female, you can actually be a techie, you can be a data analyst. And she'll be sharing her knowledge and showing us how to use Power BI. So please sit back and relax and enjoy. If you have questions, do let us know in the chat box. And so yeah, I'll be welcoming her. Thank you so much, Olubukola, for joining us here and for being our facilitator. So over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's nice to have all of us here from all over the world. Very exciting. So let me just share my screen. Can you stop sharing so I can share? Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's session. So today we're going to be talking about how you can go from just raw data to insights, and I will be introducing you to Power BI for data visualization. So I know that I've already been introduced, but yeah, my name is Olubukunwola. For my everyday work, I am a data analyst and a data engineer, right? And I'm sure that some of us might be wondering, okay, why data analyst and data engineer? Well, originally, or like at heart, I'm a data analyst. But there are times when you get to do some work and then the work you're doing has to do with some data engineering, and that's how I ended up dabbling in data engineering and falling in love with it. But yeah, I do both currently at work. So what am I here to talk about? I'm here to talk about a lot of things, right? I know that a lot of us are curious, and as a Nigerian that I am, we like to answer questions with questions, but I'm here in a nutshell. I'm here to answer some questions that we might have in our mind right today. I know a lot of us are curious about data analysis, and data visualization, Power BI as a tool. So I'm here to introduce us to that world. So today we'll be talking about, I'll be answering some of the questions, and the questions I have is, what is data? What is it about data? What makes data special? Of course, what data can do for you and what you can do with the data, right? There's data, so what can I do with data? Um, so there's a problem where a lot of organizations are not using their data. So I'm going to be talking about why organizations are not using their data. And the reason why I'm going to speak about this is that it can, when you maybe go into an organization, it can help you know problems that you can help organizations solve. We'll talk about BI, that's business intelligence. We'll also talk about Power BI, which is the tool that we're here to talk about today. And then I'll help you understand how you can use Power BI for visualization. So just sit back. We have a lot to discuss. If you have questions, comments, you can just put it in the chat. And during the Q&A session, I would be happy to take your questions. Okay. So what is data? I think that at the very least we should understand what data is, right? Because I remember there's this meme I used to see when somebody would um tell somebody else that, oh, I'm a data analyst, and the person asks, can I get 500 gig of data, or how much is 500 gig of data? So people would normally like mistaking a data analyst role to somebody that sells data, but like that is not what it is. So what is data? So data is information, right? It is just information. And but the thing that differentiates data from just information is that data is information that is collected and stored. Because I can be speaking to you, right? But right now our meeting is recorded. Because our meeting is recorded, there is some sort of data about this meeting. But if I'm just speaking to us and there's no record of anything, while it is data, it is not data that can do anything because it is not stored. So data is information that is collected, right? And data can come from many places. It can come from numbers, it can come from text, it can come from images on your phone, or just images in general. Even from videos, like data can come from videos, because when you have videos recording, right? And in a video recording, there's there's somebody that is speaking, right? And so data can come from that. So I want us to think of data as the ingredients in a recipe, right? So by itself, when you want to like create a recipe, or you want to create a meal, if you have only salt, salt by itself cannot do anything. It cannot make so much, right? So if you just have like a piece of an image, just one image, that one image cannot really, well, it can do a lot of things. In essence, it can't really do so many things. But when there's like a collection of images, right? When you put all the images together and then you analyze the image, you can create something meaningful out of it, right? So data is essential because it helps us make very informed decision. Like when you're making decision with data, you come from a place of information, right? You can also understand trends, solve problems, and even the AI tools that we see today, they are very heavily dependent on data, right? So data is very important, and it is a collection of information that has been collected and stored. So what is it about data? What makes data special, right? In truth, data actually transforms the way that we understand and interact with the world, right? This might seem like a statement that is big, but in actual fact, it is true, right? Because when you're in a data-driven world, what happens is that you are provided with a clear and objective view of reality. You don't make decisions. Some people like can make decisions by, okay, because they're very intuitive. Oh, my intuition says, my guts tell me, right? But when there is data that can back up your decision, right, you're making a more objective decision than just, oh, my intuition says I should do this. So instead of guessing how well a product will sell, or I like to use the example of, for a lot of people in Nigeria, when there's traffic, you would know that people that sell water or drinks or like gala would go to the traffic to go and steal. And then the reason why they are able to like figure out the right time to come out is because they already know that by maybe 5 p.m. every day, there's going to be traffic on Third Milan Bridge, or 5:30, because a lot of people are coming from work, right? So they are able to know that, although they did not store that data anywhere, but because there's fact to back it up, right? That's why they're able to make that decision. But imagine me going to a new city. I don't know anything about the traffic of the city, but I'm like, okay, if I go to this road right now, because my guts tell me that there will be traffic by this time, and then you go to the road, to that particular road, and then there's no traffic. But if there's already like information about the fact that, okay, this is a very busy area and a lot of people take this route by this time, it is a more informed decision than, oh, I feel I should go to this place and I'll be able to like sell my water, right? So data kind of transforms how we interact with the world. Data is like, when people say knowledge is power, the knowledge of data is power. It enables you to understand a lot of things and also make more informed decision. So it kind of begs the question, what can data do for you, right? So what is it about data, right? I've talked about what data is about. Well, what can data actually do for you? As I mentioned, very data is very powerful for making informed decision, like very, very powerful. And the amount of data that has been generated globally has increased immensely, because at times when I used to also think about how data analysis was not a thing as far back as 20 years ago. People were analyzing data. Of course, companies were like looking at their data and seeing what is going on in their business, the trends of their business, and they were making decisions from this, right? But the data that was being generated then is not the same as the data that is generated now. In fact, by next year, it is expected that the amount of data that is generated globally would have reached 181 zettabytes next year. And that is crazy amount of data. So it means that this there's going to be data, and this data will need for us to come and use it, to analyze it, to make the best out of it, right? And for organizations that are already making the best out of their data, these organizations are six more profitable and they are five more percent more productive than their competitors, right? And so data can really go a long way in helping businesses to like make profits, to be very profitable, and to help them stand out, right? And I still like to go back to the AI, because the reason why AI exists and AI can function the way it functions is because it leverages data. You can't just say, I want to create an AI system without having to feed it with data. And the reason why it works as effectively as it does is because as humans, we are constantly generating data. We are constantly generating from just scrolling on your phone or being here on this meeting. We are generating data for a company like Zoom. If you are using a Samsung phone, scrolling through your phone, doing a lot of activities on your phone, you're generating data for a company like Samsung or an iPhone, right? So data is being generated. And now that you go to a company, the company has data, there's a lot of things going on. What do you do with data? And I think that for a lot of people that I have spoken to that are beginners in data analytics, they are usually asking these questions, right? Because there are times when you go to a company and they don't really know what to do with their data, and they're coming to you as an expert. What do I do with all of this data that we have been generating? I like to use the word from chaos to clarity, because data in its rawest form can be so chaotic, can be really chaotic and confusing. You might not even know what to do. In fact, even with the number of years of experience I have in data, there are times when I just see some data and I will just go and sleep and then wake up the next day. I'm like, okay, yeah, let me try to look at this again, because data can be very chaotic, right? So in simple words, what do you do with data? You make sense of the data. That's just what you do in simple words. You have to make sense of the data. Do you want to use the data for trend analysis? Do you want to use this data to train AI models, to build AI tools? Do you want to use this data to help business increase their profits, increase their customer experience? What do you want to use this data for, right? So in simple words, the thing you want to do with data is to help make sense out of the data. And as I mentioned, today all businesses are data businesses. All businesses are data businesses. And so if you think that um, your company that you currently work in is not very data centric, they might not be leveraging their data, but they are. And I used to tell beginners that when you want to start your data journey, start from where you work. Don't try to look for a beginner. I'm going to go to another company to get a new job, right? Before you even go to another company, you have to first get experience where you're working. That's the best way to get experience, right? Because if you think your company, even if your company does not have a data team, right, they are generating data that you can help them leverage to help you build your own career in data. So data would help like a business transition from a state of uncertainty to a state where um, they are clear about what they want to do, right? So for businesses, some of the things that, as I've mentioned, data helps them make better business decisions, help solve problems. There are some problems that can only be solved by just looking at your data, right? Like, for example, you might be wondering, why are customers not coming back to our business? There might be a lot of reasons why customers are not coming, a lot of assumptions to why customers are not coming back to a business. But if you truly look at your data, you might be able to tell that, okay, maybe because since we increased our price from 5 naira to 10 naira, we have had a decrease in the number of customers that come. So, like from there, you can say, okay, yeah, maybe customers cannot afford to pay 10 naira to us anymore. And maybe from that, you can just better decision making, start giving customers discount, or tell customers that, oh, they can buy two for the price of one or something, just to make your customers come back, right? You can also improve performance of your business with data. If there's a business process that is slowing things down, right, you can look at the data. Okay, how many minutes do we take to do this thing before now? And um if we do so and so, it might take us 3 more minutes, three less of 3 minutes to do it, right? So data can help you improve your performance, your processes, and also improve your customer experience. Because if you're a data driven business, you'll be able to understand and know your customers and know how to sell to your customers, and not just sell but satisfy your customers. So data is so important in business. So how can we help as data analysts? How can we help businesses use their data intelligently? You don't just want to use their data, but you want to help them use their data intelligently. You can help them with business intelligence, right? Because while there is data, to make use of this data and use it intelligently, there's something that we call business intelligence. So business intelligence bridges the gap between data, just having the data, and helping businesses make decisions with their data. So business intelligence refers to technologies. There are different technologies that you can use, processes, like there are processes that is involved in business intelligence, and tools that you use to collect, analyze, and present business data. Business intelligence is very focused on business data, and the goal of business intelligence is to help businesses make decision with their data, right? So in business intelligence, you first have to collect the data. When you collect the data, you want to analyze the data, analyzing by figuring out what is going on with the data. Then you want to visualize the data, show them what have I seen from this data? Because if you just have data that you have analyzed and you say, oh, I noticed that we made 500% loss last year or profit last year. You can say it, right? But people would most likely believe you if you show it. They will believe you if you say it, but like showing it just puts an extra layer of confidence in what you're saying, right? So visualization is also very important, right? And then when you visualize, you want to generate reports out of what you have created and maybe send to people or show people that, okay, this is a report that I've created from the data that I have analyzed. And of course, you don't just want to show them the report. As in business intelligence, it involves also helping businesses make strategic decisions to improve their business, to help them make decisions. Like data is very big on making decisions because there's no point working on the data if it is not going to do anything with data. So in a nutshell, BI helps organizations understand their past performance, their present, to predict their present performance, to predict future trends, and also make data driven decision. So how can I apply business intelligence, right? So now I've learned about what business intelligence is. I've learned about power, about data. How can I apply business intelligence? Remember that business intelligence involves using tools, processes, and technologies. And one tool that you can use for business intelligence is Power BI. Well, it's already in the name, right? Power BI. The BI in Power BI is business intelligence. Power BI is a Microsoft data visualization tool. The core of Power BI is visualization, right? That is because the end product of what you create with Power BI is beautiful visuals, right? But Power BI is way more than visualization because, as I mentioned, BI involves collecting and analyzing your data before you even go ahead to visualize the data. So Power BI would help you collect your data from wherever it is. You can analyze this data, and after you have analyzed your data, you can now visualize your data. So Power BI is a Microsoft visualization tool. It is a Microsoft tool, and if you are very familiar with the Microsoft ecosystem, like Excel, especially Excel, like it's very similar to Excel, but I would say that it's more advanced in terms of visualization. So Power BI consists of different versions. We have the desktop version. The desktop version is the one that you download to your computer. The online service version is the one that you would go to a website to use, and then you also have the one that you can download on your phone as an app, right? All of these three versions, there are other versions, but these are the three most popular versions. And all of these three versions have different use cases. The desktop version is where you build your report from scratch, and it is absolutely free to use, right? The online version, you can build a report from scratch, right? But it is not very, I would say that you already need to have a good foundation before you use the online version. So like maybe you have a house and somebody maybe wants to rebuild the house. There's already a foundation in place. So the online version requires for you to have a good foundation. While the desktop version is you building your house from the foundation from scratch. Nothing is in place for you. While the mobile version just allows you to view your report on your phone on the go. So the mobile version is kind of mirrors the online version because when you can view your report, you can share your report. And if you have a report that you want to share with the stakeholders, instead of them to go to their laptop to view their report, they can just have the app downloaded on their phone and they can view their report. So as I mentioned, the desktop is free. You can download Power BI desktop for free to build a report from scratch. However, if you want to share your report online, right, online, it requires you to have a license. You can get a free license, but the free license does not allow you to share your report with other people. But you can get to share a report with other people, you require a paid license, either a premium paid license or a pro paid license. Also, for you to get a license with Power BI, either premium or pro, you would need a work or a school account. You cannot use Gmail or Yahoo Mail to open a Power BI account. You need a work or a school account. I feel like I've seen videos on YouTube where people have used their Gmail or Ymail. Maybe they found a way to figure it out, but um, by the rules of Power BI, right, you can't use a Gmail or Yahoo Mail account to open a Power BI account. And the great thing about Power BI is that wherever your data is, you can bring it into Power BI. So, excuse me, a data source is where your data is seated or stored, right? So Power BI can connect to over 200 data sources. So if your data is in Excel, you don't need to copy and paste your data from Excel into Power BI. No, Power BI can connect to your Excel without changing your data. So just create a copy of that data in Excel. If your data is in a database, which I know that a lot of organizations' data would be in, excuse me, and Power BI can get your data from that database into its environment for you to analyze. So wherever your data is in essence, Power BI can get your data from there and bring it in. All right. So now that you have been introduced into Power BI, what is the report creation process in Power BI? I like to talk about this because I feel like as beginners would most likely be confused on what to do when you open Power BI. Okay, where do I start from? Right. So that is why I like to talk about the report creation process. The first thing you want to do when you have a Power BI report to build is to bring your data in, and that is what is called import your data. So where is your data seated? Is your data in Excel? Is in a database? You have to bring that data into Power BI, right, from your source. And when I mean bring the data, I don't mean go and copy and paste the data. No, just connect Power BI to where your data is. Power BI can connect to different systems to take in data. So importing data is connecting your Power BI to wherever your data is to bring a copy of that data into Power BI. So the next step is to clean your data. Now, the reason why cleaning is there, I would explain cleaning in detail shortly. But the reason why cleaning is there is that, excuse me, for data cleaning, data is not usually in the best state. Like data in its rawest form is not usually in the best state for analysis, right? So for you to make your data in a state where you can analyze it, you have to clean that data. So after you've cleaned your data, you want to model your data. So modeling simply is creating relationships, right? The reason why you need to create relationships in some cases, because it is not in all cases that you create relationship, is when you are creating a report from multiple tables, right? So you need to tell Power BI that I want to create a report from two or more tables, but these tables that I'm creating this report from, they have some sort of relationship. They have some things in common. And I need to tell Power BI that if I pick this from this table, if I take this from this table, I should be able to take something else from another table. So it's just creating a bridge between those tables so that they can interact with each other. That's what modeling is. And when you model, you want to visualize and analyze. Visualization and analysis kind of go hand in hand, right? Because when I model my data, once I'm done cleaning
Hello, can we see here? It seems network.
No.
Okay. Probably
No,
network.
very well.
Now we can't hear her anymore.
Okay. Probably it's network. She'll soon join us soon.
Yeah. All
Thank you
right.
for the feedback. She's not on the call.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Can you hear
can
me?
now.
Yes, but I
Yes,
can't see the
network
screen.
went off. All right. So let me just reshare my screen. I don't know how far back. I don't know how far back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just chipped up like 30 seconds ago. Are you
Okay.
talking about a relationship?
The analysis, the
Okay.
analysis
Yes,
part.
I will
yes,
just
yes.
thank you. All right. So I was talking about visualization and analysis. So after the relationship, creating relationships, I said relationship is like creating a bridge between your tables so that they can interact. So the next step is to visualize. And I said the reason why you need to visualize is that there are situations where you have like millions of rows. So you want to instantly see what is going on in your data. Visualization just helps you do that very easily. And then once you visualize, you can now start your analysis. Whatever analysis you want to do on the data, go ahead to do it. And I say that visualization and analysis go hand in hand because when you visualize and you analyze, you want to create a beautiful report. And creating that beautiful report is still a part of visualization, right? So you visualize again, and once you're sure that my report is fine, you can go ahead to share with whoever you want to share with. So these are the 6 Power BI report creation processes. Some people have 5, some people have 7, right? But the core of creating reports is based on these 6 processes. Okay, so what are the components of Power BI? I want to talk about some of the components of Power BI, like data cleaning. I talked about when you bring your data in, then another step is to clean your data. So what is it about data cleaning, and why should I clean my data, right? Okay, so for data cleaning is just give me a second. So data cleaning is the process of identifying, correcting errors, inconsistency and accuracy in your data set. The reason why I say this is that data, as I mentioned, data in its rawest form is not the best for analysis. So you need to make sure that your data is suitable for the analysis that you want to do with it. For example, if you have data for, maybe you've collected data, maybe via a Google form, for example, and you collected data about maybe the age of people in your community. Maybe you want to find out the average age of people in your community. I can bet you that there are some people that maybe you only want, your data is only for adults 18 and above, and then you see an age and the age is 1. Like 1, you're looking for adults and there's an age for 1 year old, right? So that is inconsistent. You're not expecting an adult to be 1 year old, right? So those kind of little inconsistency in your data, like the age being 1, you have to like correct it. Either you delete it because of course you don't want somebody that is 1 year, you're not going to count that person, or you find a way to like get the age of the person, right? So inconsistency like that, or maybe you have a dates column and you're collecting dates in, you've told people to fill out your dates in maybe the UK format, day, month, year, right? And somebody has gone to fill it up in the US format, month, day, year. And it's confusing. You're not sure. Like some people filled in UK, some people filled in US, and it is just all over the place, right? There'll be situations where maybe the day is June, sorry, the day is 7th, the month is 6th, right? But because somebody has filled 7, 6, so you don't know if 7 is the month in this case or 7 is the day, and you're confused. So you have to fix all those inconsistency in the data. So data cleaning is the process of doing that. If you have like missing values, you find a way to fix it. And the reason why you're doing this is that you want to make sure that the quality of your data is good. You want to make sure that the data is reliable and the result you are going to get from this data is accurate, because clean data for sure leads to more accurate insights, better decision making, and more effective use of your BI tools, right? So data cleaning is a very important part of your data analysis, and it is the first, after you've brought in your data, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your data is clean, is in a good format for your analysis. If not, you're going to be having very inaccurate figures, and you might have to be going, sometimes you can go ahead to like analyze your data without cleaning, but if your data is not in a good shape or form, you have to go back to clean it. So that's why it's good to like start your analysis with cleaning your data. Okay, so the next thing is data visualization, right? Data visualization, right? The reason why I think data visualization is very important, I think that while people talk about it a lot, it's very important because that is the results that your stakeholders will see. They won't see all the work that you have put. For example, your data cleaning can take you days, and your data visualization will just take you 1 hour or 1 day, right? They won't see all the days' work that you have done in cleaning your data, but they will see the result of your analysis, which is the visualization part. And I think that is why it is important, because it kind of is the result of all the work that you have done, right? So data visualization is representing data through graphical elements like your graphs, your maps, tables, your dashboards. And what it does is that it will help you make complex data sets simpler. Remember I said that before you analyze, you want to visualize, because you want to simply just look at what is going on in your data, see the trends that are going on in your data. And when your data visualization is very effective, it enables you to quickly comprehend your data, and you can easily identify relationships with your data, identify outliers, and of course, it's going to help you make better decision. I've mentioned decision making like 10 times. So because data at the core of data is decision making, right? And of course, Power BI does data visualization so well, like so well. So well. Okay, so the next part is data analysis. And with Power BI, there are two ways to do data analysis, but the main major way is using DAX. So the second way is like modeling your data, because before you start to analyze your data, you need to tell Power BI that there's a relationship, right? But at the core of data analysis in Power BI is formulas, right? DAX, DAX. DAX means data analytics expressions, and DAX is it's just a language in Power BI, the formula language in Power BI to perform calculations. If you use Excel formulas, right, you would have a basic understanding of DAX. DAX is not very complicated. It is just Excel formulas but written in a Power BI form, right? So if you know how to use simple Excel formulas like sum, like your average, your lookup, your conditionals, right? A lot of things that you can use in Power BI, sorry, in Excel can be done using DAX language in Power BI. But the thing is, because Power BI can handle so much more dynamic and Power BI is more dynamic and it can handle so much more complicated calculations, right? That's why it used to seem like DAX is very hard for some people, but no, it is just understand the basics of it. And if you want to write a formula, maybe you want to compare time periods, you want to compare how much you made last year to how much you are making this year, right? You can write a formula using DAX to do that comparison. So DAX can help you do that. You want to do a simple average, for example, using the example of getting the average age of people in your community. You can write a simple average formula to help you do that. You can do the sum of all the values in a column. You can calculate a values based on a filter. Okay, I want to see my total sales, but I only want to see total sales for where my gender is male, right? I want to see total sales. I only want to see total sales for the city of Lagos, right? So you can write filters, you can write formulas that allow you to filter your data, to slice and dice your data however you want, right? So that is what DAX analysis is in Power BI. All right, so let's see a sample Power BI report. I'm going to show you a report that was created in Power BI so that we can see, okay, what is it about Power BI? What can Power BI do? What is so great about Power BI? So I'm going to stop sharing and I will share my Power BI screen now. Okay. Okay, let me know. Can you see my Power BI screen? There's supposed to be retail analytics showing on my screen.
Is up.
All right, thank you. All right, so this is how Power BI looks. Well, when you open Power BI, this is not how it looks. This is just a report that have been created in Power BI. And the great thing about Power BI, I like to say, is that if you think it in terms of data and visualization, or not just if you think it on a broader scale, right? If you think it, you can do it. Like how do you want your report to look like? What kind of vibe are you going for? You can build it in Power BI, right? So this is a report that I think that what I was going for was a website kind of look. It is a retail analytics report and it is a sample coffee store sales report. So it's a report about a coffee store and the sales that they have made, right? So this coffee store has a retail chain across different cities. So let's look at the report, right? So you can see all of this at the bottom here. They are buttons, and I have created buttons on this report. So you can create buttons in Power BI that can allow you or help you navigate through the different pages. As I mentioned, I was going for like a website feel, like when somebody opens the report, it will seem to them like they're navigating through a website. That's what I had, or like a book, right? So this is my homepage. And so the first page I have here is my performance page. So if I click on it, takes me to another page, which is my performance overview, right? So I can see different figures and different visuals that I have used in Power BI. This is a very old data. I don't know when I refreshed it last, but I can see, of course, different time periods, different years. I can select a year 2014 and the data will change. As you can see, the data is changing as I am selecting the year, right? That's one thing about Power BI, very interactive. If I come here and select a store also, you can see my data will change to show me data for only that store currently loading. Okay. This is very slow. This is long I have opened this report. But as you can see, the line graph is changing to just show what is going on in that store. I can also select for a product category. So I can select for a product category or whichever one I want, and the report will change. And you just, it's not just filtering by all these filters I've added. I can also come here and say, okay, I want to see what is going on in only beverages. And if I click on this beverage here or whole bean slash teas, my report is going to interact with whatever I click. So Power BI is very interactive, and that's one thing about Power BI. I can go also to the customer analysis page, and to take me to another page with customer analysis, I have been able to build icons, use icons to display um, my analysis for my customers. And I have all these cards that serves as summary for my report. I have like a lot of pages here. So you can navigate through any of these pages and tell you for free, this report was not built in one day or 1 week. It takes a lot of work to be able to build a report like this, but this is a sample report in Power BI. So let me just show us some things, how to do some things, or just show you the Power BI environment. We don't have a lot of time. Of course, I can't show you how to use Power BI in 1 hour, but I can show you some things that you can quickly learn about Power BI. So what I would do is I would just create a new Power BI file, blank reports. So let me close this while that is coming up, because I don't like when I have plenty Power BI open. Very stressful when you do. I don't want to save this. Okay, so this is a Power BI file, a blank Power BI file that nothing has happened to at all, right? Very ready for analysis. And as I mentioned, if you're very familiar with Microsoft tools like Excel, right? A lot of Microsoft tools have very similar basic interface, right? But there are just some differences between them. For example, your menu bar, right, and your title bar. Excel has menu, has title bar, right? But there are some other things that are different in Power BI. So I'm going to talk about some things here. So in Power BI, you have these four views. Four views. By default, Power BI opens to your report view, but there are other views here. So let me just briefly talk about the report view. The report view is where you create your report, where you build your visualization. And this white space here is called a reporting canvas. This is where all those visuals that I showed you in that report was created on this area here. This is where the report was created on, right? So here we have something called a filter pane. And what does this filter pane do? It allows you to add filter to your report. If you want to show only the year 2023, I can filter to only show the year 2023. If I want to show where my customer age is 23, I can add a filter to only show me that on the filter pane here. Then we have the next thing here is the visualization pane. So the visualization pane contains all the visuals that are available to you in Power BI for free. All right, so all these visuals that are here are available for you to use in Power BI for free. Power BI has more than what you have here. If you have an account, that if you have like a paid account, you can go into the Microsoft Store to get more visuals, but all these visuals are okay for you to build whatever report you want to build. And these visuals are customizable. You can add colors. As you can see, the report I created, like I use pictures, I use colors, I use filters. So as I mentioned, if you think it in terms of visualization and your data analysis, you can do it here. Then the last part here of these are called panes. These three are called panes: filter pane, visualization pane, and data pane. The last part here is the data pane. So because we have not brought in data, that's why it is empty. But when you bring your data in, what you will have here is a list of your tables that you have brought in and your columns. That's what will show here, because it is from these tables and columns that you create your reports, your visual. So it will show here so that you can have access to your data. Here you have your pages. You can add as many pages as you want. If you notice that my report had multiple pages and I used a button to navigate to those pages, all those pages were created using this page. So I will add a new page to create a different thing in my report. So the reason why this is also showing as add data to your report is that when you've not added data to your report, Power BI will prompt you to add data, because you cannot build a report in Power BI without data, right? So you need to add data before you can create a report. So the next view we have here is the table view, right? So the table view is blank now, as I mentioned, because we don't have any data here. But what the table view allows you to do is gives you a tabular view of your data. You can see your data as a table, right? The report view will not show you your data as a table. It will just show you as a list, but you can see it as a table here. And then this third view is the model view. And the model view allows you to create your relationship. Remember, I talked about in case you have multiple tables, you can create relationships between those tables, right? So that's why you have your model view here. And you can see these lines. These lines denote relationship. The last view here, this is a very new view. I think it was added to Power BI last month, is your DAX query view. This is where you write your DAX, right? So yeah, you don't necessarily have to write your DAX here. In fact, I'll tell you for free, I have never used this for writing DAX. But the thing is that when people write DAX, some people want to see the result of their DAX as a table, because when you write a DAX formula, when you write a measure or some type of DAX formula called a measure, when you write it, you can't see the result until you visualize it. But if you want to see the result without visualization, you can come and write it here. So that is what it is used for. So before now, this was a different tool on its own. It was not embedded in Power BI. It was a standalone tool. But I think what Power BI has done is come and add it to its own system so that people will not use a third party tool. So that is what it does. But you can write DAX even in your report view, your table view, or your model view. So let me just show you how to bring data into Power BI so that we won't have you haven't loaded any data here again. Just a simple demo to show you how to do that. If you notice here, you can see this option that says get data. Get data is telling you bring this data in. That is what it's just telling you to do. And there are many ways, many different sources to get data from into Power BI. So if I click on this tiny drop down here, you can see, so what is listed here are the most common sources. Well, they're not really the most common sources, they're just Microsoft sources. But yeah, these are like mainly Microsoft sources. But if where your data is not shown here, you can just click on more. Now, the thing about bringing data into Power BI is that you need to first know where your data is. You need to know. My data is in an Excel workbook. Okay, that means I need to get data using Excel. Remember that there are some CSV files that can be opened in Excel. But if your data is .csv, please use text or CSV. Even if that CSV is opening in Excel, don't use Excel. You won't be able to see it. So use text/CSV. The data I'm bringing in is in an Excel file. So I'm going to use Excel workbook. And when you select the source of your data, you just click on connect. So this is my data here. It's called Superstore data. So I'll just bring it in and open. So you can see it's establishing a connection to that Excel file. So these are the four, in an Excel file, you can have multiple sheets in an Excel file. So one sheet in an Excel file would denote a table. Power BI would see a sheet as a table in an Excel file. So I will just bring in only one of these. You can bring in all or one, but for the purpose of this demo I'm showing you, I'll just bring the others table in. So this is just a preview of my table. So once I bring in, I will load the data into Power BI. For the purpose of this demo, we will not be cleaning the data because, as I mentioned, we can't teach all of that in 1 hour. This data is not perfect, but it is good enough for what I want to do. All right, so now that I have brought in the data, very simple process. You can see now that you can't see add data to this report again. What you can see is build visuals with your data. It's now prompting me to start my visualization. And if you come to this data pane here, you'll see that we have the orders table shown here. If I expand it, I will see all the columns on the table shown here. Another thing is that if you go to your table view here, you would see your data as a table, right? So you can filter, you can check what is going on by filtering to whatever you want, just the way you filter in Excel. You can just look through your data to see what is going on in your data. And here you can see all the columns and the table here too. So it just as a list, right? And if you come to your model view too, because we only have one table, you can't create relationship from to one table. You have to have multiple tables. So the table will just show like, but if I had multiple tables that I want to use for this reporting, I will have all the multiple tables showing as a box like this, and I can now start creating my relationship. You can create a report from one table, and you can also create a report from multiple tables. So there's no rule to the number of tables that you can use to create a report. So I'll go back to my report view here, and I'll just do a simple, very simple visual. I don't want to do so much because we don't have a lot of time. I'll use a bar chart, this bar chart here. So when you want to visualize, just select the visual you want to use here, and it will come here. You can expand it to make it bigger or smaller, however you want, and you can drag it to move it around. Okay, so I'm just going to do a simple visual that would be category. So when you want to visualize, you'll see your different axes here, x-axis and y-axis. So this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis, right? So what do I want to see on my x-axis and what do I want to see on my y-axis? On my x-axis, on my y-axis, I want to see category. So all you need to do is click and drag category and place it on your y-axis, and maybe on my x-axis I want to see profit. So you can see profit here. Just click and drag profit and place it on your y-axis, right? And this is a simple, very simple, as I mentioned, simple visualization that you can build in Power BI. You can build multiple visualization, and as I mentioned, you can also edit or format your visuals so that they look very beautiful, right? So let me just do some bit of formatting. So when you have your visual selected, when you want to format the visual, you make sure that it is selected. How do you know that it's selected? We have these tiny notes at the corner of the visuals. So once it's selected, see this part under visualization, you see format your visual. So this is where all the formatting action happens. I'll click on format. There are different formatting options. If you're not sure where to go to, if you're looking for something you're not sure, you can search. For example, if I want to change the color, I can search for color. It will give me all the options that have color. If I want to check for size, I can search for size. It will give me all the options that have size. If I want to do background, it will give me all the options that have background. So sometimes it's not easy to get used to it, especially at the beginning. So you can leverage the search button to get access to what you want. So if I want to change these bars from blue to like maybe magenta-ish, if you see, there's an option for bars here. So these are called bars. So I'll just click on it, expand it, and you will see the option for color. So right now the color is blue, and I can change it to, I think this is, I don't know if this is magenta, but it looks like it. I think this is more of it. Okay, let's just use this. I can change it to this color. Right now, my technology, office supplies, and furniture, they look very tiny, right? So I want to make it a bit bigger. So I can also do that. I'll come to size, right? So this technology, office supplies, and furniture, they are on my y-axis. So I'll come to y-axis here, and I will just increase it. It is currently 9. I can increase it to like 12, right? This other one, 0K, 50K, 100K, and 150K, they're on my x-axis, so I can also increase it. So I'll come to x-axis and I will increase it to my values. I'll increase it to 12 too, so they look a bit bigger. There are different ways you can like make your visuals better. These are just very basic things. If I want to change the title from sum of profit by category, I can come to my general. This is title here, and I will just rename it from, I can just put profit by category, so a simple title. Okay, I can also make it a bit bigger. I can make it bold. I can make the text white, and I can make the background maybe this color. Oh, text should be white. Background, maybe background, I can make the background black or something. I don't think these are very good colors, but yeah, you can do something like this. You can also add a simple shadow to elevate your report, or a border. I can add the shadow to this report and this visual, and you can see that the visual looks way better than it was before. Like, it's very easy to do formatting in Power BI, straight to the point, just clicking different options on formatting your visual. All right, so that is where we'll be stopping today with visualization in Power BI. I'll be happy to take our questions. Okay, so check if we have questions in the chat. Okay, we have some raised hands.
Someone hand is raised. Okay, I think I would try to coordinate that. So I saw Richard first. So Richard, can you unmute and ask your question?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Please,
Hi, good morning.
I would love to find out the difference between Power BI and pivot table, because I think they look similar in a way. So I don't know if you could explain that to me. Thank you.
Power BI and pivot table.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Power BI is a data visualization tool, and I think a pivot table is some sort of visualization, that a sort of way to do analysis in Excel, right? You can create a pivot table to analyze your data, look at your data, but Power BI is a tool that can even do a pivot table, right? So Power BI is a tool. Pivot table is just something you can do. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, you can put your hands down now. Jerry, please unmute.
Okay,
Jerry.
thank you very much for the very clear presentation and lecture. Please, I want to find out, you mentioned that you're a data analyst and also a data engineer. For someone to be a real, let's use language industry standards, for someone to be a qualified, let me use that language, a full-blown data analyst, what are the basic things the person needs to know? Or maybe what are the basic technologies the person should know? Or what are the concepts the person should know, please?
Okay. So for some of the concepts that I have mentioned in today's presentation, they are basic to know, right? But you should also learn to use tools like Power BI, for example. Power BI is a very powerful data analysis tool. While people like to say it's a visualization tool, I think it's very powerful data analysis tool. You should also know how to work with databases. That's learn to use SQL. So I'll say for data analysis, learn to use one visualization tool and SQL, and also like Excel, because you'll be surprised at how much Excel you might be doing when you're a data analyst. So yeah, those are basic. But for skills that you should know, like I would say just know about data, know how data works, know how data flows. Very important. Um, be a good communicator, not just verbal communicator or written communicator. you should be able to also learn to communicate visually because you're going to be showing people a lot of reports, right? So communication is key, and learn to solve problems. As a data person, you would solve a lot of problems. So you need to learn how to think through problems and also solve problem. And top skill is learn how to Google, learn how to go on Google to solve problems because there are a lot of things that you might not know. You might have to Google, and you need to be able to know how to fish for solution. That's a better word. Learn to fish for solution. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Please, I just something just to add. Now, is it easier for one from to transit from data analysis to engineering because of, I mean, is it the just the SQL that
Yeah, yes, it is easier. It is easy to. I like to tell people to like start with data analysis because
I
it
have
is kind of a soft
question.
landing to understanding data, right? Than going straight up. Like if you can't go straight up into data engineering, fine. But most data engineers will tell you that they started from analyzing data, and they fell in love because in analyzing data, you have to clean the data. Data analysis is very big on cleaning your data, like making sure the data is in a good state and organized for people to use for analysis, right? So yeah, data analysis is very good because it helps you understand how to work with data and understand data generally. So yeah, I would say start with data analysis.
okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, good morning. I have a question.
Okay, please go
Yeah, good
ahead.
morning. Yeah, good morning. My name is Ibe. Like, I really appreciate the class. And my question is because I am an upcoming data analyst. Like, I'm looking for a place for an internship. Like, did your organization book a placement for an internship or place?
Okay, so that would be answered in the later part of this session. So that will be answered, but I won't answer it now. It will be answered in the later part of this session for sure.
Okay. Okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Okay.
And then yeah, secondly, like I have two questions.
Okay.
Okay. Hello?
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
and the other question is like under Power BI, like I was going through some kind of document,
Mm-hmm.
like under Power BI, like can someone use same method to calculate time intelligence like under calendar and then also merge everything together to form a reasonable analysis.
Um, okay, I think I understand your question. With Power BI, yeah,
Okay,
you can do time intelligence formulas. As I mentioned, you can compare time periods, you can do trends over time, right? You can do your month to date,
okay,
sales, your year to date, year on year growth, all of that, right? And you can create a report out of doing those kind of analysis. So yes, you can analyze based on
okay,
time intelligence formulas.
okay. Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Okay, somebody asked in the chat, Power BI or Tableau, which is better? I'm sorry, I don't. Uh, I would say that okay, for the purpose of learning, I would. I have used both of them. I would say I prefer Power BI because Tableau can be very manual. Like I can easily click on something to change a color in Power BI, but in Tableau, I might have to write the formula to do that, right? So that is why I personally prefer Power BI, and I've used Power BI more than I have used Tableau. But one thing about visualization tools is that the knowledge is transferable. So if you know how to use Power BI, there's another tool, Looker Studio. It's a Google visualization tool. I did not go out of my way to learn Looker Studio. I was like, okay, I already knew how to use Power BI, so how do I do this in Looker Studio? That was just it. I was just googling how to do this in Looker Studio because I already had an idea of how to build visuals. It's just to do it in another tool. So if you know how to use one visualization tool, you can transfer the knowledge of that tool to use any other visualization tool. So yeah, you can start. I can definitely Power BI is a good start for sure. A very good start for data visualization.
Um, I can see Abu Bilal hands raised. Can you unmute, please?
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. I have a couple of questions to ask, so uh, if I'm permitted.
Yeah.
So one of it is this. You made mention of getting like every organization have data. Perhaps maybe they are not aware. So the question on that is, how do you get data from a company without database? Like they don't have a database of their data. So how do you get data from them? So that's one. Then secondly is, can Power BI get, can you get data using Power BI from video and voice source? I think you made mention of getting data from anywhere. So can you get data from video or voice source using Power BI? So then the third one is, which one comes first? Is it analysis or visualization? I think you made use of those words interchangeably. So which one should come first? Is it analysis or visualization? Then the next one is, what is the difference between report and dashboard? And the last question is, what determines the kind of visualization you use in making your reports? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abu. I hope I remember all of your questions. Um, Visualization, which one comes first? I'll start by how I remember them. Visualization or analysis? I say they go hand in hand, right? It just depends on how you as an analyst want to work on your data. The in the end goal is to visualize your data, right? So your visualization will definitely come last because you have to build your visuals last, right? But sometimes you have to visualize first to see what is going on in your data. You don't want to just go ahead and start analyzing, because if you have a lot of data, you want to see. I mean, as a data analyst, you have to be very curious about your data. So you have to visualize to easily see what is going on before you start to analyze, right? But after you analyze, you now have to visualize for your report users to see what you have analyzed. So that's why I say they go hand in hand, right? Then the other questions that you asked, for organizations that don't have data and are not storing their data, they probably store it somewhere, like where it could be an Excel file, it could be a Google sheet. They're not just like, except the data, the organization is not digital. I think that there's probably somewhere they are storing the data. Like, ask them, where do we store our customer information? Where do we store our sales information? Where do we store this? Where do we store that? Right? There's definitely somewhere that the data is being kept, or maybe it's on somebody's system, right? So the other question, another question you asked, oh my god, that was a lot of questions. Then you talked about, can you ask the ones that have not answered again, please?
Okay. All right. I asked, what determines the kind of visuals that you use in making your report?
Okay. All right. So the type of visuals that you use in making your report is the visual that can communicate what you want your users to see. That's the best visual to use in making your reports, right? I can't say for sure that use a bar chart for this, or use a pie chart for this, or use this, right? Or however, there are some, in terms of visualization, there are some do's and don'ts. Like, you don't use a pie chart to visualize data that has so many categories, because your pie chart will be confusing. The goal of visualization is to communicate. So whatever visual can communicate the insights that you have in mind is the best to use, and use it correctly. So I would say that understand the different visuals in Power BI and what they can do, and see the one that best communicates your insight. And the other question on videos and audio, it will be answered in the next session. Then I think that's all of your question.
And I asked about what's the difference between report and dashboard.
Oh yeah, report and dashboard. In the actual sense of it, like, report and dashboards are the same generally, but in Power BI environment, report is what you will create in Power BI desktop. That's the one that I just showed you. But on Power BI service, that's the online version of Power BI. There is a dashboarding feature that you can create, where you can bring some elements or some visuals in your reports, or some key insights in your reports, to create something that is called a dashboard, right? So report is what you create in Power BI environment, and a dashboard is usually created in Power BI service. But in the general sense of it, people use this interchangeably outside of Power BI, right? But a dashboard just shows like key information. All right. So any other question? We'll end the session shortly in about 1 minute. So I think we can take one more questions.
Sorry. I wanted to ask what's the difference between data analysis and data engineering?
Okay, so data analysis is the process of analyzing data, right? Raw data to get insights from it in simple terms. But data engineering is collecting the data from wherever it is, organizing the data and storing it. The goal of data engineering is to make sure that the data is available in the best format for analysis. That's just the goal of it. But analyzing is just getting insights from that data. Engineering does not involve getting insights from the data at all. It's just making sure that the data is available in the best format. All right, I think
Please, can I ask one more question, please?
okay.
Okay, she wanted this last question, then I will bring in our community lead to like answer all your other questions. Yeah. So just ask.
All right, thank you. Okay, sorry, this question is a little bit out of what we study, what we just learned now. But I want to understand, can Python do the same thing that the Power BI does? Because I've had experience with software development, but I want to switch into data analysis, and I have a little bit knowledge of Python. And people are saying, okay, you can do it because you already know Python, you can just go in. So I want to understand, is it the same thing that Power BI does, that Python now does? Or do I still need to come and learn Power BI?
In short, to answer your question shortly, yes, you need to come and learn Power BI, yes. But Python can do the same thing that Power BI does, but not in the same way that Power BI does. The Power BI's core is visualization, while Python is a programming language. Python does have like libraries that can help you visualize your data, but it doesn't do it the same way Power BI does visualization. Power BI I would say, is a better tool for visualization. Python is just a programming language. All right. So any other questions that you have will be answered in the next session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Paula, for this session. It was really insightful and educative, and I'm really grateful for our students or participants for being attentive, because as you're attentive, you're able to like ask lots of questions and get clarity. Yeah. So Mr. Taiwo here, our community lead, is on the call to answer all of your questions. So he's a BI developer, and yes, yeah. Mr. Taiwo, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi everyone. So I'm just going to turn on my video so you can, put a face to the community, right? Because so a lot of people pretty much want to see who are those people. I mean, you've seen Anu already, so it's important that I also let you see. Now, so can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. So I'm just going to share my screen now. I know if you can stop sharing so I can share my screen. All right, thank you. Yeah, it's coming through. Oh, yeah, sharing now. All right, perfect. Yeah, I believe you can see my screen now. So my session is titled Leveraging Expert Knowledge to Settle In. So what this is all about is that I'm just going to talk to you about our community and the amazing things we've been doing, and what some of the things that you need to know about us, right? And you then get the opportunity to ask further questions, either data related or or the community, questions related to the community and how you can join us, how you can take advantage of the amazing things that we are doing and become a part of us. So my name is Taiwo once again, and I'm a BI consultant, and I also have the privilege to lead the community at Scenario Academy. So we pretty much started in 2019 as a community, and what we wanted to do was to just get people together so that we can start learning data analytics together, share knowledge, and help each and every one of us grow. So it kind of morphed into a much more bigger community, which you may want to refer to as an academy or an institution, but we still see ourselves or consider ourselves like a community, because our main goal is to actually help people know, and not just to know, but also continue to know. So it means that when we bring you in, we don't just teach you and then let you go. We still keep you within our community and continue to, build with you, handhold you even when you eventually get a job, and continue to become a part of us. So to simply look at some of the things we have in our pipeline. So we are pretty much one of the few organizations that does both physical and online classes in Lagos. Our physical classes are in Lagos, but our online classes are being joined by people all over the world. Yeah, I say that. Our instructors are people who has had experiences across different, industries, from aviation to, financial services, healthcare, education, and HR, several other sectors, right? So they kind of bring some kind of cross-domain knowledge to teaching you. So you have a lot of people who work in different organizations and different industries who join the classes, and then they're able to ask questions pertaining to their industries and how some of these data analytics concept can be applied to those different industries, right? I have worked in aviation, I've worked in FMCG, I've worked in HR, I've also worked in I've also worked in healthcare. So when I'm teaching, I kind of, share what it does look like across different domains. So if I'm talking about, market segmentation, how organizations try to understand where their businesses are coming from and segment it, I kind of give that example across those 4 different sectors, because data analytics is the same thing across every sector. The domain knowledge is what differs, right? So, and once you have, experience in data analytics, you know how to apply that across the different domains. Gamification is just one of those things that we also bring into our learning, because I know what it means to learn as an adult. We understand the challenges with that. So what we try to do is to integrate learning and fun into the learning. So we have a lot of gamification steps that we have applied into our process of learning to make it more interesting, more interactive, and let you get the experience. Because I'm sure there are a lot of you who probably must have paid for courses online and maybe haven't gone back to it after many years, right? So after many months. So we believe that there's a way gamification can actually help to steer or stimulate the learning and ensure that you continue to, learn. You put in the dedication, you put in the dedication and the commitment that is required. So we also have, after class, our classes run for 3 months, 2 months. And we then, because the truth about data analytics is that, just like Bukola has mentioned, that it can't be learned in one day or 1 hour. Even 2 months that we have actually scheduled for the classes is also not going to be enough. In fact, I can tell you 8 months is not even enough to learn the whole of data analytics. You can probably learn the 80-20 that, or the 20% that you can probably use to do the 80% of the challenges or the tasks that you will eventually get to do in data analytics. So we have also, offered you a free internship with us if you eventually take our course, any of our courses for 2 months. You also get to enjoy another 2 to 3 month internship. Mind you, all of your learnings, during your learnings or after your learnings, there's what you call a capstone project that you are going to also work on to apply the knowledge that you have learned, right, during the class, apply it into a proper project. And then also, even during the internship, just to also ensure that you are fit for that internship, we conduct what we call an internship assessment. So what that does is still to see how much of understanding you had within the, in the training that you've had, how much of understanding you have, on the training that you have had. And then we use it to, admit you into the internship. So after the 2 to 3 month internship, you become a member of our community. Even right immediately after your class, we add you to our community, and you get to see a lot of help. You get help in some of the project or side project that you might choose to embark on. You get a lot of help. You see a lot of people asking questions. You get answers to your questions. You might be having some issues with your Power BI or your SQL, or something is not running, and then you need somebody to help. You can just dump in a question, and you definitely find an ex-student or a current student or a past or an instructor or instructor who would be willing to answer your question. And also, one of the things we also do is to help you, during the process of transitioning. Say you're looking for a job, you want to switch from your current job to data analytics after your training. We definitely also support you during your your search. It might just be that you've gone for an interview and they've given you a question to answer. And we get a couple of lots of that. So there are people who go for an interview and then they give them a data set to go and do tasks like cohort analysis. That's the essence of the community. You come back to the community if you need help, and then somebody would be definitely available to help you and support you and ensure that you do it the right way. So yeah, I have mentioned that, which is the post-training support that we also give, whether you're running a job interview or you are trying to work on a project on the side. And the beauty of the internship is that you get to work on a project that we have developed for one of our clients, through our sister company, which is Scenario Developers. So it gives you that understanding, that knowledge of what it looks like to work within a data team. We use Jira to manage tasks. So we set up, we break down project into epics, stories, and tasks, and then we assign. So you have a clear idea of what it looks like to work within a proper data technology team. You get to experience all the different roles that are available, whether it is data operation, data engineering, or data analysis, or so you kind of have an idea of how to build a proper and a robust data platform, or data analysis, or data visualization for an organization. So beyond the post-training support, we also offer references if you are pretty much interested in getting references. And then we also have the alumni meetup, which is a quarterly event as well. We could choose to say in the next quarter, bring in somebody who can show you guys, how to use what role a data analyst plays in a data migration project, or how to do maybe cohort analysis, some of those Power BI or advanced Power BI concept that probably we're not able to cover during the session. Or it could even be a new technique that is just emerging technology or emerging trends within the ecosystem, and we need you guys to have a knowledge of that. We bring in thought leaders to come in and engage you and share those knowledge with you. So those are a few of our competitive advantage in terms of why we stand out. And like I said, we are not just an academy, we are a community, and who are willing to help people and also handhold people so that we can all grow and leapfrog where we are to where we want to be. So that being said, I'm going to quickly show you, of course, one of the concerns we get is during my years of experience, over 4 years in this community, over 4 years in this community, one of the things I have noticed with people is that even after they are training, the internship and the like, they still get some form of, fear. There's this kind of fear that they still get, about what the expectations are. If they eventually get a job, what's the business expectations? What should the business expect from them? Or what are the business expecting from them? Or what should they also expect from the business? And one of the things we do is to try to help people to get over such fears and let them understand that in any organization, this is what data analysis is all about. So you can either be hired to do data visualization. Once you're hired as a BI developer, or some organization call it a data analyst, in most cases, those two titles are interchangeably used. But in most cases, they probably mean the same thing, but in the real sense of it, data analysis is somebody that does more building dashboard, or sometimes data analyst goes in depth to do analysis, understand, do some research and the likes. But as a business intelligence developer, in most cases, you're probably responsible for building dashboard or building reports. So organizations either want report or they want dashboard, right? And all you need to do is to, build those reports, build those dashboards, and sometimes, in most cases, also get the source for the data you need to build that report as well. So that's why this, having a knowledge of SQL is also one great thing that would really stand you out as a data analyst or a BI developer. So in terms of what businesses expect, or what businesses are trying to do or get from you as a data analyst or a BI developer, is simply to help them, build report or build dashboard that can uncover what their business looks like in terms of their sales, orders that are, if they sell orders, their sales, whether it's the sales in value or sales in volume, customer, they want to know their number of customer, and most importantly, they want to be able to compare to, previous performances. So that is what, can I say the foundation or the most critical things that organizations need when they say they need a data analyst or a BI developer to build reports and dashboards for them, right? So, and like I mentioned, which is a kind of rule of thumb in data analysis or BI developer, or building a dashboard, or if you are building a report, in most cases, as a rule of thumb in data analysis, you should always endeavor that to ensure that any data you're putting out is comparing to something, because any data you're putting out that is just standalone data might not be so much valuable, except it's comparing to something, right? So if I say this is our sales last year, or if I say this is our sales last year compared to sales this year compared to last year, the result of that is more valuable to just telling the business that this is our sales this year, right? So yeah, so sometimes we call this, in most cases, we call this time series analysis, or time intelligence analysis. Business wants to measure their sales, their customers, their, the purchases or the sales that they make in terms of volume and sales by time. So by time simply means whether yearly, quarterly, monthly, or whatnot. So that's the most first thing they want to do. And then they may now want to further, ask you or tell you or require you to further break down some of those figures by, their sales locations, or by their product, or by their salespeople, or by their, the regions that they've been able to cover, and so many more, their distribution channels and the likes, and a couple of other options. And of course, most importantly, they want to understand their customer, because having a good knowledge of their customer is very, very important to them. In fact, it's the most important analysis that every organization actually need, understanding their customer. The moment they're able to understand their customers, then they are able to sell properly to their customer. So there are a lot of concept, or analytics concept that businesses can use to understand their customers. And these are simple visualizations that can be built in Power BI and published and shared to stakeholders like the commercial teams, the marketing teams, the sales teams, the sales team, or it could even be the operations team, to properly help them understand their customers, the customer behavior, and the likes. And they can easily target their customer perfectly, right? With the right communications, the right messaging. There are a couple of them. I'll just quickly brush through them briefly because of our time. A few of them is you have what you call the sensitivity analysis, and what this simply does is help the business to understand what is how to understand when a certain action within the business, the impact of a certain action within the business. So let's say it's a business that actually does increase price almost quarterly. So they probably want to understand or to know, probably want to know if the increased price, is it also impacting sales? Is sales also going up if we increase price? So sensitivity analysis help them to know the impact of one variable over the other. So if we are having more sales, is it also resulting into more profit? So those are questions that businesses want to ask, and then they need somebody to answer those questions for them. So this is a simple sensitivity analysis dashboard or visual that is built in Power BI. Another one is the RFM analysis that simply help the business to segment their customer based on how recent the customer made a purchase, how frequent they made a purchase, and also the amount of purchases they've made over a certain period of time. And then it helps them to segment their customers into different RFM segment, and then they can channel proper or can I say customize or personalized communication to those customers, right? The kind of messaging that probably will go to customers that are at risk will be different from the messages that will go to the marketing messages that will go to the customers that are champions or potential loyalists or loyal customers. So we also have business want to segment their customers. They want to know, which of this market segment is giving us more money, and which of the market segments should we improve going forward. For some businesses, it's cheaper for them to sell online than to sell at their brick and mortar store. So they want to, monitor come up with initiative and then monitor the outcome of those initiatives that can help them move their customers from their buying from their brick and mortar store to the to their online platform, because it's always cheaper for them to sell at their online platform than at their offices. So you have the cohort, which I mentioned. I mean, to piggyback on what Olu Bukola have said earlier, business wants to know how well they are doing in terms of retention. So are their customers coming back? How frequent are they coming back, or how quickly are they coming back to buy after their first purchase? So that's what cohort analysis is simply all about, and what it helps businesses to uncover. So these are some of these few techniques that we cover during the internship, and a few of them after the internship, through our quarterly meetup. So it is really valuable to want to learn with us within our community. And I can tell you that, you would definitely, it would probably be the best decision that you would make in, maybe this year. Of course, I'll leave that to you to decide if it's the best decision. So of course, several other ones like basket analysis. I think Olubukola also mentioned something similar. What two products to sell together? So there's a need to help the business to first uncover what product people usually buy together, right? So it then gives them, opportunity to identify those products and then try and cross-sell them. For customer to buy. So you eventually see some people, jump at some of those opportunities. Then you also have the price volume mix. These are just some of the few analysis that can help the business to either understand their customers or to either help the business operations and to understand sales behavior. You also have the Pareto analysis, which is a kind of concept that actually help the business to either understand anything about their business. So it could be that they want to understand what are those 20% of customers that are bringing 80% of the revenue, right? Or they want to understand what are those 20% of product or complaints that the thousands of their customers are complaining about, right? They could have like 10 products and customers are complaining about 2 of those 10 products. So that those 2 products becomes 20% of their product, right? So it kind of help them to personally pay attention to those 20% issues or 20% customers or 20% products that are driving 80% of their sales. I'm sure a lot of you understand the Pareto concept, which usually talks about the fact that in most cases, 20% of the effort is what yields 80% of the result. So Pareto analysis is also a very simple analysis. There are a lot of business CEOs that when you're doing analysis for them, you just base it on the 80-20, right? Could be a customer analysis, could be I also have my own personal experience of 80-20 of how it has really helped organizations to make proper decision, right? So those are just very few of the advanced customer analytics or business analytics concepts that can be easily done on Power BI, and then we try to expose you guys to during our session. During the main training, you go into the rigorous foundational knowledge and understanding the concept, and during the internship, you get to enjoy some of these advanced concept in Power BI, data analysis concept that can bring about initiatives within organizations, because it's not just enough to do data analysis. It has to be analytics that are bringing about initiatives within the organization, right? That can stimulate business performance. So those are just a few things. And for some of the financial consultants or financial analysts that we have here, the finance guys, Power BI is gradually replacing the traditional financial reporting that is being done within organization, right? So you can see, you can easily do Power BI. We've had a session, our alumni session, where we showed our alumni where how you can use Power BI to design an income statement. So, there's a way, and it becomes dynamic, unlike on a monthly basis where you have a lot of financial analysts or the FP&A guys having to crunch on Excel for many days, sometimes sleep in the office, because they're trying to build financial statement to be ready for business meeting after the end of every month. So Power BI is gradually replacing that. And there are these are like 2 things that we've built in Power BI. And so, that's just to show you how wide a tool like Power BI can do. To wrap it up, I'll just quickly share with you some of the tools that are being used. So as a data analyst, like we said, of course, even if you don't have a knowledge of Excel, but it's always advisable that you have a good knowledge of Excel. That's why in our data analytics program, we start with Excel. So we believe that there's a way, Excel can give you that soft landing into Power BI, right? So you have your first 2 weeks or first 3 weeks, learning Excel, and then now, easily pivot into switch to Power BI. So Power BI is like one of the biggest tools in the market for data visualization. This is just to buttress on what Olubukola have said. Tableau is also one of it, but Power BI still, maintains that market leadership, and it's like used worldwide. You have very few, I can say maybe it's a ratio of 8 to 2, right? Out of 10 companies, maybe 8 out of 10 companies are using Power BI, right? So especially because it's a Microsoft product and it has this seamless integration within a Microsoft environment. Tableau is also another tool, developed by Salesforce. It has its strength and it also has its weaknesses. So SQL is also a great tool that you also need to learn as a data analyst. So if I have to recommend a starting position for you, I'll say, Excel, Power BI, and SQL are the two things that you need to learn, and they are very well enough for you to start making your transition or doing great things for either yourself or even an organization. So Python, and SSIs are pretty much some advanced tools that are used for data, that can be used for data analysis as well. So there are a lot of Python libraries. Python's a programming language, like you said, but it also has some libraries for data analysis and data visualizations. And also SSIs is simply, probably trying to go a bit more toward data engineering, but yes, so the SSI is also an amazing Microsoft product that you can use, but these are pretty much going a little bit advanced into data and data engineering and data, getting your data properly into a data warehouse so that you can consume it as a data analyst for your visualizations and your reporting. So a bit of other tools you have is like the cloud tools. So gradually organizations are also beginning to move from on-premise, meaning like hosting data or their data warehouse or their data repository within the organization. They're gradually moving it also to the cloud. And these are like tools that help to do data analytics within, on the cloud, right? As against the traditional on-premise data, data engineering. So these are tools that are used for data engineering on the cloud. So we have some other data visualization tools like Looker. This is Google Looker, Plague. Maybe once in a while you probably will come across some of these things, but but they are not tools that you easily come across in any organization, right? But once in a while you might just come across them. But like you said, the knowledge of Power BI can easily be transferable to some of these other tools. And then you also have databases. So there are different type of databases that you find yourself, coming across in different organizations. Some organizations store their data in SQL Server, some in PostgreSQL, some in MySQL, some in Oracle. So these are like data locations where organization stores their data. So as a data analyst, once you get to an organization, you may likely find them, find their data stored in at least one of these data locations or databases. So in our training, we teach you with SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, which we believe is most widely used by corporate companies, right? So we teach you that. And then of course, these are like also similar databases to Microsoft SQL Server. But the truth is that SQL itself, once you know it, you are pretty, you're pretty much, you can easily, all of these 4 databases uses the same language called SQL. So once you know SQL, it means that you can use any one of these databases or connect to any one of these databases and query them. Just a small changes in the syntaxes, right? So maybe somebody type top, maybe one of the databases can say, okay, use top to query top 10. Can use top, the keyword top. Another one can say, no, use limit 10. You understand? Instead of top 10, so one can say limit 10 or one can say up 10 or something. So they're just different dialects, but the same SQL language. So and just to add to the fact that Microsoft still remains the global leader or market leader when it comes to data analytics and business intelligence. So this is why it's a no-brainer to consider Power BI as a data visualization tool and SQL Server as a database for learning. So yeah, so these are a pretty few things that it's important that you know, and some of the things that we definitely can use to that can add value to your journey as you begin your journey as a data analyst. So I'm willing to take questions if there are no questions, if there are any questions from anyone. You can use the hand raising button if you have any question. Yeah, Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I can hear you.
yeah, I would love to ask if the payment for tuition can be paid in bits.
Sorry, your audio is not so good.
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly well. No.
Yeah, please. I wanted to find out if I don't know, majority of us, or let me just speak for myself. I'm currently not fully employed, but I've also had some knowledge of data analysis,
Okay.
I've been studying on Udemy and all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't feel proud enough to call myself a data analyst because I really feel I don't know anything. But I also want to join this class with Scenario Academy. So I want to ask if it's possible to make payments probably on instrumental basis. Probably there's a ratio you can do.
Yes, you can actually. I think you can. You can definitely. I think we have the pay small. The pay small. I think you can split payment actually. So you have that. So you can reach out to the number. I think the team will put a number on the chart that you can reach out to. Yeah, the team can actually drop a number that you can reach out to, then they will let you know. But I know you can make payment. You can make payment twice. So there's such opportunity.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So Joseph, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the insight so far.
Yeah.
Please, my question is, the person that spoke earlier on talked about DAX, which
Yeah.
was data analysis
Yeah.
expression. And she said something about you write code and all. My question is DAX similar with SQL? Right? The way you write code in SQL, is it similar with DAX?
No, not really. I don't know if have you used DAX? Have you used I mean, you're just trying to get to know DAX, right? So if you've used SQL, Excel, before, you probably must have come across DAX. DAX is just it's called data analysis expression language, and is not the same thing as SQL actually. So DAX is I don't know how best to describe it, but it's just like you want to do some mathematical calculations in either Excel or Power BI, especially when you're using or Power BI, you can write DAX. So the DAX query just helps you to calculation to roll up your figures, or you want to create a new field or a measure or a calculated column, or so it's just probably to roll up your number. So let's say I have my data, but I want something that can sum up all of my sales from year to date. I can write a DAX query and pass it to a variable called totals year to date, right? So it's simply is an expression language instead, not a SQL, not a query language. SQL is query language, while data analysis is an expression language. So mathematical expression. That's what it means.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Ibe. I want to thank you people for this wonderful training. I've already learned some things, which I'm very happy to. Please, my question is, I'm looking for an internship placement. Please, I don't know, maybe if I'm welcome.
Hello. Okay, so I think you can give you. I've given you. I'll drop a phone number on the chat so you can reach out to that number. The last person that asked the question, so you can reach out to that number. Emmanuel, please go ahead.
All
Yeah,
right.
so
Good afternoon, sir.
hi, good afternoon, Emmanuel.
Yeah, it's first of all, I would like to thank you for this teaching. Then secondly, you were explaining DAX, then I kind of a question popped up in my mind. There are these Excel queries you try to run. Let's say you have this some large data set and you're trying to just sum up everything. Is that the same thing as DAX? Or DAX is quite different from it?
Yeah, it's similar. That's what I'm saying. You can write, except I'm not sure I get the context of it. When you have an Excel data and then you now want to do what? Can you take that again?
Let's say you're working with your marketing data now, and
Yeah.
then you're trying to like create a sheet where if the let's say the sales agent, if they're able to make up at least 80% of their target, then you pay them 10% of the total net worth they were able to bring into the business, something like that. So there is this query you write trying to join the let's say the marketing agent field with the sum of data they make, if it's at least 80% of the original thing they were told to bring, something like that. I'm just the exact thing is skipping away from my head.
Yeah,
But
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say yes. So because you probably will write some. You can. So you say you want to write a conditional
yes.
expression, right? So say, okay, if this, that, then assign this to it. If it's over 20%, assign this to it. If it's over, so you probably writing a conditional query, which is also can easily be referred to as DAX. So in the case of Power BI, probably will be writing a switch statement, and that is assigning it to a certain value of certain listing. So I think it's safe to say that yes, it can be referred to as a DAX query.
Okay. My second this thing is Power BI. To me, when you first the first speaker was speaking, I was kind of tight, so I couldn't say it. But then Power BI is kind of complicated than Tableau, because to me Tableau Public is kind of easy to use than Power BI. But I see data scientists like you, data experts like you, and the other lady are always referring to Power BI. So I don't know if like what does Power BI gives you than that Tableau Public kind of, because I feel as upcoming data analysts, they're always telling them to use Tableau Public. It has some free features you can use, you can test your hands on it. And then the third thing, just like something like maybe an expression. When the page before this, you were showing some of the tools data scientists can use, data analysts can use, and most of them were managed, or they are currently managed by Microsoft. So I can understand why some airlines, some banks, and some businesses were shut down the past few days when Microsoft server had some issue. So because I see people are much more dependent on Microsoft tools, those storing data, those running transactions, airlines doing other things. So I'm just trying to imagine why a lot of banks, a lot of airlines, and a lot of businesses were affected by the Microsoft server shutdown. So that's my kind of question.
Okay, let me start with saying that I respect your opinion about comparing Power BI and Tableau, but I would like to disagree with you that in terms of ease of use, Tableau does not top Power BI. I would have said I should keep it to myself, but it's also I should call it my own opinion. But it's it's important to also know probably where your source of result or your comparison is coming from. But I feel like Power BI is simply very easy to use, and much more so that it is likely used by a lot of companies, because there are a lot of things that should influence your decision to choose a tool to learn, right? You and I, let's say we're in Lagos, you can be a data analyst that is visualization expert that is good in Tableau, and I'm a data visualization expert that is good in Power BI. And let's even leave complexity of ease of use out of it. The market determines the knowledge that you should get, right? And most importantly, the availability of that knowledge, the support, and the likes. So, like I mentioned, out of maybe in Nigeria, maybe out of 10 organizations, maybe one probably might be using Tableau, while the remaining 9 will be using Power BI. So those are pretty much indicators that should even influence and decide, or influence your decision on what tool to use. A huge portion of corporate companies are using Power BI, right? And then especially because of its easy and seamless integration within the Microsoft stack, right? So I think let's just be careful with how we can have our preferences, but in terms of choosing what tool to learn, a lot of things needs to go into that decision that should influence what tool to learn, and also which environment, in terms of the comfortability of that tool as well. But like I said, Power BI is still very easy, much more easy to use for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, right? But it's fine to have your own preference and your own opinion. The second question has to do with Microsoft shutting down and the likes. So I think the issue wasn't Microsoft shutting down. It was because you already understand what happened. It was a security company called CrowdStrike who made a content update push, which is a security tool that eventually messed up most of Microsoft systems, most of Microsoft systems, and not even all of it. So it pretty much it shouldn't even be an indicator or a reason to not want to choose Microsoft or to not want to choose Power BI as a choice of data analytics tools. So so that's my own opinion, but it's okay to make your own choice. So I'll quickly go to Denkins before Yasia. I'll come back to you, Yasia. Denkins.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the session. Well, it was insightful. But I just have a few questions about your training. The data analysis, is it Python inclusive?
So we have Python as a separate course if you are interested. And you can choose to pay for both the data analytics and the data science. So the Python program is simply called data science, and it simply helps you to understand Python for data analytics. Of course, you're going to start with a crash course in Python, because Python is a programming language, but it's a versatile programming language that you can use for software development, game development, data analytics, and a couple of other stuff, right? Including AI or deep machine learning. So what we do is to teach Python for data science and machine learning. So machine learning is more like building machine learning models for predictive analysis. So, you can use a machine learning model to predict, say, if a customer is likely going to default on a loan when you give the customer a loan. So Python is a separate course, so it's not together as one, but you can pay for both together at a discount. So that's the opportunity we have. Well, the data analytics course is simply, consists of Excel, SQL, and Power BI, and it runs for 2 months. So the Python course itself is also another course that runs for another 2 months.
Okay.
So 7 weeks, yeah.
Okay, and then do you offer data engineering?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we offer data engineering, but it's pretty much an advanced course, and you have to either show your skill as a data analyst before you can be enrolled into it, or you go through the data analyst track before you can get into data engineering.
Okay, so what are the prerequisites? Like, what are the courses expected for you to know?
For what? For which of the course?
For data engineering. So what are the prerequisites for data engineering?
So you have to be very good. You have to have done SQL. And then you have to also have done data, at least know a visualization, so preferably Power BI, but at least know it be strong in a visualization to at least understand DAX query, right? Because DAX query is one of the most important concepts in Power BI. Once you know DAX query and you're able to use it and perfect it, then you can, be confident about your knowledge. So those are the prerequisites.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. So what's the tuition? Was there a discount? What's the tuition
Yeah, so
like?
we're giving a discount of 50%. I expect I think Anu would probably want to take that. Anu, do you want to take that, or should I go ahead? Okay, so we have a 15% discount
You can go ahead, sir.
Okay, we are
a little bit noise.
okay. So we have a 15% discount for anyone who is willing to register and pay. I think this, runs up until the end of the month. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm correct. Anu, it runs up probably up until the end of the month. So you can join. The next class starts it starts on the 3rd of August. Yes, the next online class starts on the 3rd of August, and the next physical class starts on the 10th of August. So, yeah, so feel free to go to our website and register. I think we probably have some of our, this is what our curriculum looks like. For Excel, you get to be introduced some of the, important concept in Excel, advanced functions, the logical functions, the, lookup function like the VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and then index and match, which is, a function that helps to navigate the complexity or the inefficiencies of VLOOKUP, excuse me. And then, one of the most important concepts in Excel is referencing, right? Which we have 3 concepts: absolute referencing, relative referencing, and mixed referencing. Now, the truth is that once you understand this concept, this is like the engine of SQL, of Excel. Once you're able to understand this concept, there's a way, every other thing will become seamless for you. Yeah, of course, the basic arithmetic function as well, you'll be introduced to them. Advanced functions like some if, nested ifs, and the like. You'll probably be, a lot of people who think they know Excel already because they use it in their organization, and by the time they enroll for this course and they go to the Excel class, they get to understand the fact that Excel is actually much more than what they think they know. Before I continue, so doesn't look like I ignored you. Yes, Sia, do you want to go?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Hi, yes, sir, good afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for this wonderful opportunity, and I'm really grateful. And I couldn't at a better time than this. As an aspiring data analyst, is it a must that one must learn a programming language? Then, secondly, the bonus code, how do we apply it? Is it that we just pay directly? Because I started the registration quite well, and I've been sent the link for the payment. So are we just paying straight? Since it's going to be a form of transfer or something like that, are we just paying straight with the 15% off, or how do we apply the discount code?
So okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Lastly, I've tried on several occasions on learning most of these things by myself, but I quite discovered that one or two things that is lacking, which actually strikes me with this your program, is the issue of mentorship and the internship. Please, I would like you to reiterate that aspect again for convention. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yes, yeah. So the first question is the discount code, right? And then the second question is the mentorship and internship. So for the discount code, this is a discount code. It's called SAMSCL. So if you go to the website now, scenarioacademy.com, I don't know if somebody can put it on the chat. scenarioacademy.com. Yeah. So when you click on register, you'll be presented with a form, and then on that form, there's a place that specified discount code. So you can just apply the discount code when you are registering, right? So you just put it there, SAMSCL, and then it's going to automatically discount it for you, right? So yeah, so that's it. So once it discounts it for you, then you get to see what you need to pay. So you can pay it. You can make the payment. You get an email, and the email will tell you the new price and and how you can pay. So that being said, the second question is on mentorship and internship. So mentorship is so there's something we call a hand holding. So the idea, how it works is that during your training, you are in a WhatsApp group. So maybe you guys are 10 in your session or your cohort, or you're 15. You have access to because we have dedicated instructors for each and every one of the module. Excel, we have dedicated Excel instructor. SQL, we have dedicated SQL instructor, and Power BI, we have dedicated Power BI instructor. So you have those 3 instructors within the group. And then if you have questions, you can ask in the group, and you feel if there are some questions that are a lot more private, you can chat them up privately and ask them those questions, right? Now, but we always encourage questions within the group chat. I'm talking about WhatsApp group for your cohort. We usually encourage people to share some of those questions in the group chat, because other people may have similar concern, and once the instructor answers it, then other people then get to take advantage of that response. Now, but like I said, if it becomes a bit more private question, you can easily chat up the instructor and ask question. Now, that being said, the internship is it's like we put people into teams, right? And then we set up a project to work on end to end. We onboard you on Jira so you can, start seeing tasks to work on. And we meet up. The internship, it's an online internship. It's not paid. I have to put that out. It's not paid, but of course, we also expose you to some of our partners who are able to link you up to paid internship. So if you are lucky for your CV to be reviewed and to be selected, you can eventually take advantage of that as well. But we have a guaranteed internship, which is not paid. But in a case where you get the opportunity to see paid internship to our partner, it's lucky for you. So during the internship, it's like we have a weekly session, weekly check-in, and this is the task, this is what we've done, this is the blockers, this is the challenges I'm facing, this is the help I need, and then advise you on what you need to do to fix that, right? And then it runs for sometimes 3 months, but in most cases 2 months and a few weeks, right? So that's it about the internship. So we work on a project end to end. And then lastly, in terms of mentorship, so after the internship, you can also, you are already added to our larger community where you can continue to have conversations, continue to look at challenges, people dropping challenges, and then you can pick up some of those challenges and try them out on your own, and present your results, and continue to have conversation, right, about data analytics and data engineering. So that's I believe that answers your question, if I'm not wrong. Yes, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so,
thank you. That was
all right.
elaborate. Thank you.
All right, cheers. So I was just looking at the content, so Excel, and then we have the Power Query, which is for data transformation in Excel. Look at conditional columns, creating custom columns. And so a lot of this knowledge, especially the Power Query side of it, can easily be transferred to Power BI, right? The Power Query, both the data transformation and the data modeling with Power Pivot can easily be transferred to Power BI. So for the Power BI, we also have the, interesting curriculum we have. I don't want to waste your time to start reading. This information is on our website. You can download it and go through them. So SQL also is a great tool that you also need to learn and understand. This is like the database that this is what an organization database looks like. So you have tools you can use to connect to the database and run a query. And, if you need to, and one of the reasons why you probably would need this as a data analysis and not just building visualization in Power BI is that you probably have some values in Power BI in your analysis that doesn't look correct. So you can easily come here and check in SQL and write it. It's like going to the source to now check, what is the actual value. And then once you get the actual value, you can go back to your Power BI and see where the issue is coming from. It might be your modeling is wrong, or something else. Yeah, so SQL is also, we also go a lot more deep into SQL and help you to understand a lot of the basic to intermediate, get the basic to intermediate knowledge in SQL. Yeah, so of course, we also have a program called financial modeling and business valuation with advanced Excel. And so, it covers a lot of financial modeling concept for both startup and corporate. So, and we have it on the website. You can go in there and see the curriculum and what it looks like. And some of the sample classes are also available on our YouTube and also on demand, right? So please feel free to reach out to us. Is there any more question before we close out? Because we are already beyond the time.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Abel. I am very grateful and I appreciate this program for the free training of this program. Now, my question is about internship. Like for some of us who have the knowledge of Excel, like may have the knowledge of Excel, Power BI, and my SQL. Like I'm looking for a place where I can also train, just like an internship position. So I don't know, maybe for some of us who have the interest of doing internship in your organization, that is there free internship, and then how are we going to be a participant of the free internship?
Unfortunately, there's no free internship. Our internship is only open to our students, our alumni. So unfortunately, it's always open to our alumni. But of course, you can continue to be a part of our community in case anything pops up. But the honest truth is that our internship is only open to people who have taken our program. And yes, it's only open to that, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay.
All right. So any more question from anyone? Sheung, do you have any questions?
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, thank you very much. I do appreciate your effort. I appreciate the commitment to this course. I won't really call myself a beginner, right? Not that I've not been learning. In fact, I can tell you boldly that I know Excel to a certain extent. That's simply because I've been working on some data myself, compiling them as a portfolio. I mean, I just started doing that of recent because I know it's actually very, very important. But yes, concerning what the last person said, you mentioned internship. And I remembered you said before then that internship you guys conduct is not is not a paid internship, well, I may understand the reason why you're putting it out there like that. But I do feel it's a suggestion from me. I do feel, for for upcoming, because I will still say I'm upcoming, for upcoming data analysts, we kind of need more of this platform for internship, even if it is not paid. I know some people are looking for the paid one. Even if it is not paid, at least let's have access to this kind of platform, right? Because for me, I'm going through a transition. It's a transition phase for me. And before any company can even recognize you to be a data analyst for them to hire you or to employ you, you must have had experiences, either from the freelancing or from internship or from whatever source. And you must be able to pitch out your proof or your evidence that truly you're a data analyst to them. And it is through this internship platform. So I don't know, it is a suggestion, like I said, that if in any way you can, create a platform for us, for those that won't even have access to your paid training, at least all these masterclass that you conduct every month, you could make it as an opportunity for people like us to that attend to lay our hands on it. And I'm very sure some people can agree to what I'm saying. Like, if you lay hands on it, it's an opportunity for us to say, okay, I did this myself and I can add it to my portfolio and I can pitch it anywhere I go. It might be on any sector, right? It might be on any sector. And also, if you can also create a platform for freelancing as well, it will be something that we truly appreciate. That's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you. So to start with, it's a very lovely suggestion, and it's something that we've also been putting into plan. But some of this does require a lot of logistics, and for the people who will facilitate that. We are looking to work with organizations who are willing to, help support such courses, and we are pretty much very open in case there's anybody here who, who is probably knows a politician or an institution or some organizations who are willing to support our community to continue to offer such, or to deliver such initiative. We are pretty much very well open to that. Please feel free to reach out to us. So it's something that we, like I said, it's a very valid suggestion, but we are probably not in the best position at the moment until we are able to get the necessary support that will require also, that can stimulate our effort to, continue to offer such or deliver such initiative. Yes. And as soon as we're able to get one, would definitely immediately put it out there for people to take advantage of. Yeah. Richard, do you want to go?
Yes, sir. So, like, just to buttress what Sheon said,
Yeah.
if it would be an hassle for you to give us like a free training or access to the webinars, I was thinking if it's possible to like create like a WhatsApp group chat for boarding, like maybe people who can afford to pay for now. Because I know that payment now will really be an hassle because we have the passion, but sometimes we can fail at, putting out funds. So probably we could have like maybe a group chat for boarding members who, as time goes on, can actually afford to pay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so we actually have something like that. So I think the team would share. We have a community for those who join the master class. So I think there will be a link. Somebody can share the link. They said they're going to share the link. So they will share the link to you now. They will also share it to the email that they will share with you as soon for the video, for the recording. Once the recording is ready, a video will be shared with you. An email will be shared with you that has the link to the recording. So you can, I'm sure the link to join the community will also be attached to you. So look forward to that as well, so you can become a part of our community. Does that answer your question, Richard?
Yes, I think you've clarified the question.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Any more question before we close the day? All right. So Anu, do you want to close out? All right, so I think I can just, thank you all for coming. It's been an amazing session, and it couldn't have been possible without you guys. You are the inspiration behind these, and we hope that your desire to transition to a data analyst or to possibly get the data analytics knowledge to improve what you currently do within your work. Before, I think Daniel Akote, I wanted to ask a question. I don't know if it has to do with the same thing. Daniel Akoteyon, you raised your hand at some point. Sorry if I missed that. Daniel.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you for the great session. I
Yeah.
actually wanted to ask a question, but I later figured it out on your website. So
All right then. All right. Thanks, guys. So really appreciate your time. I believe it's a time well spent. We'll definitely continue to have more of these. So please pay close attention and continue to follow us in our community. We have our Instagram page. We have our WhatsApp group. We have our Twitter page. So continue to follow us. And I can tell you, for those who made suggestions around a free session, definitely it's not a new demand. We've had requests for a lot of that, and we definitely would make it possible for you as soon as we are able to get the necessary support to facilitate that. I have also mentioned that if you know anyone who could be, who is ready to, support such initiative, please feel free to reach out to us. We would be very happy to execute it for everyone. We go out of our way to deliver. I know what it means to be a data analyst. I know what it means to be an intermediate data analyst, and I also know what it means to be an advanced level data analyst. So please feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to continue to follow us, pay close attention. We will continue to share any opportunities that we have, and we believe that so that we would really go a long way to help every one of us. So thanks very much. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of your weekend.